Good morning, students. Today we will learn about business finance.
The topic for today is business finance. It may sound like a big word, but it is a very simple idea that we will understand today.
So, first question, what is business finance? Simply put, it is the money that any business needs to do its activities. Every business, whether it is a small shop near your house or a very big factory, needs money to run. I will explain in simple words. See, the definition says it is the money or funds needed to start and run a business. But look at that last line. It says it is the lifeblood of any business. Just think, what does blood do in our body? It keeps us alive and working. In the same way, finance is like blood for a business. Without money, a business cannot survive. You must remember this. Okay, so a business needs money. But for what? Let's think about it. Why exactly does a business need money? What are the expenses?
A business needs money for many things. First, to buy big things like buildings and machines. Then it needs to buy raw materials to make its products. Of course, it must pay salaries to all its workers every month. And what about daily expenses, like the electricity bill or water bill? For all of this, a business needs money.
All right, so now we know why money is needed, but where does a business get this money from? Students, listen carefully. There are two main places, two main sources. We will understand them one by one. This is the main part of our lesson. The first source is called owned funds. The name itself tells you what it is. It is the owner's own money. So owned funds is the money or capital that the owners of the business put in themselves. Now, this is very important. This money is not a loan. It does not need to be returned to anyone. It now belongs to the business. Kindly note this point. So where does this owned money come from? Well, it can be from the personal savings of the owner. Or if there are many owners, it is the money from all the partners. Sometimes when a business makes a profit, it can put that profit money back into the business to grow. That is also a type of owned fund. Let us take one simple example. Think about your pocket money. When your parents give it to you, it becomes your money, correct? It is yours to keep and use. You don't have to return it to your parents. Owned funds are just like that for a business. Now, let's move to the second source. This is called borrowed funds. Again, the name is very clear. This is money that comes from outsiders, money that is borrowed. So what are borrowed funds? It is money that is borrowed from sources outside the business. Now, there are two very important things to remember here. First, this money must be returned after some time. And second, when you return it, you usually have to pay some extra money. And this extra money is called interest. And where can a business borrow money from? Well, the most common place is a bank, taking a loan from a bank. Sometimes a business might borrow from friends or relatives. Or there are big financial institutions that also give loans. Let us take one example from your life. Imagine you want to buy a samosa, but you forgot your money. So you borrow 10 rupees from your friend. What happens next? You have to return that 10 rupees to your friend, isn't it? Borrowed funds are exactly like that. The business must return the money. So now we know about owned funds and borrowed funds. Many students get confused here, so it is very important that we compare them side by side to understand the difference clearly. Please pay close attention. Okay, look at the table. Let's go point by point. First, owned funds is permanent capital. It stays with the business forever. But borrowed funds are only for a fixed period. Second, owned funds do not need to be returned, but borrowed funds must be returned. Third, what is the return? The owner gets profit from the business, but the person who lends the money, the lender, gets a fixed interest. And last, for owned funds, usually no security or guarantee is needed. But to get borrowed funds, the business usually needs to give some security. Students, please write this down in your notebook. This is very, very important. All right, we have covered a lot today. So before we finish, let's do a final revision of the most important points. Please remember these three key points. 1. Every business needs money to work, and we call this business finance. 2. Owned funds is the owner's own money. It is permanent, and it does not need to be returned. And 3. Borrowed funds is money taken from others, it is for a fixed time, and it must be returned, usually with interest. So students, today we learned about the two main sources of business finance, which are owned funds and borrowed funds. I hope it is clear to everyone. Please revise this chapter at home. And before you go, I have a small question for you to think about. If you were to start your own small business someday, which type of fund would you try to get first? Owned funds or borrowed funds? And why? Think about it. That's all for today. Thank you, students.
क्या आप एक योग्य शिक्षक हैं जो सही मंच की तलाश में हैं, या एक स्कूल जिसे जरूरत है बेहतरीन टैलेंट की? रास्ते बहुत हैं लेकिन सही मंजिल सिर्फ एक। प्रस्तुत है schoolcarrier.in।
दरवाजों को अब तुम छोड़ दो, उम्मीदों की नई राहें अब जोड़ लो। न भटकना है ना रुकना है अब कहीं, तुम्हारी मंजिल का पता है बस यही। स्कूल को चाहिए टैलेंट और आपको चाहिए ग्रोथ, यहाँ खत्म होती है आपकी हर वो हो खोज। प्रिंसिपल हो या टीचर, एडमिन हो या कोच, बदलो अपनी दुनिया, बदलो अपनी सोच। हजारों मौके लाखों उम्मीदें यहाँ जुड़ती है, तरक्की की राहें अब आपकी ओर मुड़ती है। बस एक क्लिक और करियर है सेट। schoolcarrier.in है आपका सच्चा मददगार। schoolcarrier.in सपनों को सच बनाएंगे। schoolcarrier.in बेहतर कल सजाएंगे। स्कूलों की दुनिया करियर का है ये द्वार, सफलता चूमेगी कदम, अब होगा बेड़ा पार। schoolcarrier.in लिखो सफलता की नई कहानी, बदलो अपनी तकदीर पुरानी। सपनों को अब पंख लगाओ, schoolcarrier.in पर अपनी राह बनाओ। आज ही जुड़े, आज ही भागे, schoolcarrier.in जहां शिक्षा और करियर मिलते हैं।
नमस्कार। क्या आप स्कूल में नौकरी ढूंढ रहे हैं लेकिन सही वैकेंसी की जानकारी आपको समय पर नहीं मिलती? और अगर आप एक स्कूल चला रहे हैं तो क्या आपको भी योग्य और भरोसेमंद स्टाफ ढूंढने में परेशानी होती है? आज यही समस्या हजारों लोगों और स्कूलों के सामने है। दोनों को एक दूसरे की जरूरत है लेकिन फिर भी दोनों एक दूसरे तक पहुंच नहीं पाते। यही समस्या हमने देखी और इसी से जन्म हुआ schoolcarrier.in का। ये एक ऐसा ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म है जहां स्कूल अपनी वैकेंसी पोस्ट कर सकते हैं और उम्मीदवार सीधे उन नौकरियों के लिए आवेदन कर सकते हैं। यहां केवल टीचर्स ही नहीं बल्कि स्कूल से जुड़े कई पदों के अवसर उपलब्ध हैं, जैसे ऑफिस स्टाफ, कंप्यूटर ऑपरेटर, अकाउंटेंट, लाइब्रेरियन और अन्य पद। हमारा लक्ष्य है स्कूलों और योग्य उम्मीदवारों को एक ही मंच पर जोड़ना। अगर आप स्कूल में अपना करियर बनाना चाहते हैं या अपने स्कूल के लिए बेहतरीन स्टाफ ढूंढना चाहते हैं तो आज ही विजिट कीजिए www.schoolcarrier.in।